Hey, this is Nikki, and today I want to show you a quick little project that was a favorite in our shop. And we have made so many of these, one of our most requested videos to make, and so I wanted to show it to you today. This is the layer cake bucket. So very simple, call it a 10-inch square bucket, call it whatever kind of bucket you want, but it's made with your scraps. 4 10-inch squares and 2 squares of fusible fleece. That's all it takes. So I'm gonna get 4 10-inch squares and 2 squares of fusible fleece at 10 inches. Now this is great if you have directional fabric. The exterior 2 fabrics can be directional. The interior fabrics, you want them to be non-directional. Now this version you will see has only 2 different fabrics used, meaning we use the same 2 fabrics for the outside squares and the same 2 fabrics for the inside squares. The ones I'm gonna be sewing up and doing in my demo, well, those have multiple different ones, so you can see different varieties. So I use this one sits by my coffee maker. It has my Keurig cups in it, and I just keep it there and I keep refilling it, so it's just a quick thing and nicer than having a box of pods sitting over there. I use them, they're great to put candy in and put it on somebody's desk, because then they're everybody's favorite because they've got a sweet thing on their desk. Maybe you could make a movie night present. Put a couple DVDs, some candy, some microwave popcorn in here and give it as a gift, and it's a date night. Or somebody's not feeling so good. This holds a small box of Kleenex perfectly. So throw that in there, maybe with a good book to read while they're getting better, and they've got a great place. They take their box of Kleenex out, they can put their dirty tissues in it if they need to, or whatever. There's so many uses for this little bucket, for so many great things. I know some people just keep it on top of their dresser and throw random things in it so their top of their dresser isn't cluttered, then they can clean it out later. Great for a scrap bucket, for extra fabric scraps. But the best thing is, we're gonna use some scraps to make this. So 4 10-inch squares of fabric and 2 10-inch squares of fusible fleece, all right? So like I said, this is great for directional fabric. Here I've got some directional fabric right here that I used. And so on the back of my 2 exterior fabrics, those are the ones that are gonna be on the outside of my little bucket here, I'm going to put the piece of fusible fleece. So you see I have a piece of fusible fleece on the back of one of my exterior pieces. This is where we use the directional. And then I have it on the back of my other one. Okay, so it's on the back here. Then I have 2 pieces of lining fabric, different fabric, so it's going to kind of give a different look to it. All right, so what you're going to do with these is you're going to put them pretty to pretty, these squares, and since these are non-directional, these are the lining pieces, and I'm just going to put a couple pins in them to hold them together. It's my puppy back there. She's dropping her ball, wanting me to play with her. She cannot stand for me to be doing something on the phone or in a video. She wants me to play. So I'm only going to be sewing on the sides and the bottom, leaving the top open. Now because these aren't directional, it doesn't really matter which side I use for the top. So I'm just going to throw some pins in it, just for instance, part of it. And here's the other thing, I'm not going to leave a hole in this lining, okay? I know you're probably used to doing that with so many different projects you make, but not this one. Okay, so we're going to sew on the sides and the bottom, okay? Regular 1/4 inch seam on here, nothing special on this. Usually on my lining, I actually do a scant 1/4 inch just to take up a little of that extra, because when it's tucked inside, then it doesn't have as much extra fabric in there. Now this thing has something pretty cool. That lining is attached, so we don't have a wobbly lining, which is cool. But I still do that scant 1/4 inch on there just to change it up a little bit. So let me just sew down the 2 sides and across the bottom to show you. So using my regular 1/4 inch. Well, like I said, on this lining I'm gonna do a scant. I normally sew with a scant anyway. That's just my normal go-to. Doesn't have to be perfect. You can make up a lot of these. I mean, 1 layer cake, you can make up 10 of these with 1 layer cake and have 2 extra squares of fabric left over. You could check out my other video I have on here too. that has the candy dish, and that one is made with 10-inch squares as well. So take those 2 extra 10-inch squares and make a candy dish. That's another great video I have on here, and you can find all the information about that. Just check in my other videos. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to know whenever I post a new video on here. So I'm sewing up that last side on here. All right, so I've done that part to my lining. So I've sewn on the 2 sides and across the bottom. You're going to do that as well with your main fabric. Here, your exterior fabric. Put them pretty, make sure you're paying attention to the direction, and we're going to sew on the sides and the bottom, okay? Sides and bottom. Now, the magic of camera is I already have that done. But what you're going to do now is take both of those after you've sewn them, and you're going to measure in the corner, and you're going to measure 2.5 inches and take out a 2.5-inch square on both pieces in the corner. Okay, so use whatever you want to mark it, but you're going to mark a 2.5-inch square from the edge of the fabric, not the edge of the sew line or anything else. We do that sometimes, but on this one it's the edge of the fabric. Okay, so let me show you. Here's from the edge of my fabric. I've got a 2.5-inch square cut out at both sides. Okay, this is for boxing the corners. I've done this to both my lining and my exterior. Now what we're going to do, this may seem like it's pointless and you're going to do it later, but trust me, if you do it now, it saves a lot of time. You're going to go over to the iron and you are going to press down a 1/4 inch all the way around. Okay, use a little flatter or best press to help hold it into place, but just fold this down and press it on both pieces a 1/4 inch all the way around. Okay, then what you're going to do is you're going to box these corners after you've pressed it. So you're just going to squeeze them, and you've heard my thing before if you've watched any of my videos. We're going to have a platypus that is serious. He is not smiling. We do not want our box to be rounded. We want it straight. He is very serious. Okay, so we're just going to match this center seam, lock that seam. So I got one going one way, I've got one going one way, and the other one going the other opposite way. So you can see that seam is going that way, that one's going the opposite way. I'm using my fork pin to hold it in place. So now I'm just going to sew across this, and I'm going to do this to all 4 pieces. So just sew across. My other one. So we're just boxing these corners here and tucking them. This is one of those ones where I've got different fabrics, so it's going to have a neat look to it. I have this in Halloween fabrics, I have it in Christmas fabrics, I have them in just everyday happy fabrics, all different kind of things. My favorite one is my squirrel one. I have a squirrel one that we made out of some Tula Pink fabric. I like that one a lot. So I've got lots of these around. I did not put a little piece of fabric at the bottom of my sewing machine before I cut it, and so now my thread was trying to unthread, so I had to catch it before I did it. All right. Pull it out nice and long this time. Okay, so I've just went ahead and I've done those. All right. I've done both of those. I'm going to do the same thing on this lining piece here, both ways. Okay, so I'm just going to box those corners, and so I did the same thing. I pushed the seam one way, and then I nested it and pushed the seam the other way, and used the fork pin to hold both sides down so it's perfectly locked in. It doesn't hurt to put an extra pin down here just so that doesn't separate. It's straight. There's not rounded. I see so many people do this rounded and they don't get good crisp corners. We want nice crisp corners, so really make sure you got it straight. One more to go. So now I'm going to do the same thing on this opposite side. And I'm paying attention with this, so this bottom seam is going this way. So I'm going to keep it going that way so it lays flat, and then the other seam on this side will go the opposite direction. And that makes it lay even flatter in the process in the bottom of the bag, or bucket, or whatever you want to call it. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing again. These are fabulous gifts. I've seen quilt guilds make these for all the ladies in the guild, using scraps and things and filling them with different things. Wouldn't this be fun to make these up and set them in like Valentine's Day, you know, in a kid's classroom? Everybody can put their Valentines in there. It'd be kind of sweet. Okay, so we've boxed both the corners. Now, here is where the magic comes. We're going to take these two sets where they're boxed, right? And we're going to make them kiss, okay? So see this seam, we're going to make them kiss. Okay, so make them kiss right here. We're going to match them up, and we're going to pin them together. So what the things you just sewed, we are matching them up and pinning it together. They're already boxed and sewn, so all we're just doing is lining them up on top of each other. But what this is going to do is it's going to hold that lining down inside the bag, and the bag just looks so much nicer in the end because everything's kind of held down and you don't have to worry about it kind of creeping up. So you see I've got that first side there. I've got that pinned exactly where I just sewed it. I've just got those seams laid on top of each other, matched up the raw edges, put a couple pins in it to hold it, and then we're going to go back and sew it so it goes together really quickly. So I'm just going to go across. Okay. One piece out long. So I sewed one side. Now I'm going to sew the other side. And you can assembly line make these and make a whole bunch all in one afternoon. To be kind of fun to assembly line put together. All right, so now I have that done. So they're joined together, okay? Joined together. Now, the best part. All we're going to do is take it and pull that exterior over top, like so. Oh, my lining pieces match. My two exterior pieces are different, but my lining pieces match, I guess. So I guess I said that wrong. Okay, and now since we've already pressed everything down, it's very fast to match this up. So all I'm going to do is match up that side seam right here. So match up that side seam in here. See if I can get it up there so you can see it. Okay, match those seams together. Okay, so match that one. Then go over on this side and match this one. Okay, and after that, now these are already pressed under, so it's just matching them up because those edges are turned under, so it's beautifully already got a nice edge on it. And I'm just going to put a couple pins in it around the edge. All the way around the edge. Okay. Oops. Grab more than one pin. Okay. So you can do this with even some heavier fabrics. Maybe you have some old blue jeans of Grandpa's, right? Wouldn't it be fun to make these and put fun fabrics for everybody's personality in the family inside, and then put Grandpa's jeans on the outside? That would be kind of cool to do it that way, you know? All right, and if you have little kids' jeans, you take little kids' jeans, the little pocket, and you can put it right here on this outside, and you'd sew it on when you still have it in this stage where it's just the piece of fabric with the fusible fleece on it. You take the little jeans pocket and put it up here close to the top, measuring down about 1 inch, and you put that little pocket on there, and then the bag would have I'm sorry, 1.5 inches. Measure down 1.5 inches on this piece, measure down 1.5 inches, and then that's where you put the top edge of the little pocket and put it on there. It'd be so cute. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is sew around the top of this about 1/8 of an inch in, because we want to catch that seam that we pressed, and we pressed it 1/4 inch under. So I'm just going to sew around with the seam. I'm going to extend my stitch length out to about 3.0. It's kind of where I like to do my top stitching, sometimes 3.5, sometimes 3.0, but on the Bernina I kind of like to do it at 3.0. So that's what I'm going to do here. Set my machine to stop with the needle down, that way it won't move on me while I'm readjusting and pulling pins out. Now I could take my table off and use the free arm very easily. Sometimes I have little things like this. I just do it this way instead of taking my free arm off, because it takes me a while to take my little table off, and I store stuff under my table. I don't know about you, but I keep little stuff, random stuff under my little table. So if I take my top off, my little table top off, then I kind of have the problem. I got to find a place for all that stuff, because when I'm trying to use the free arm, I'm kind of knocking everything off. I'm sure none of you have that problem, right? Okay, so I'm still just going around here real quick. A shout out to my friend. Thank you for asking for this so that I could make a video. A lot of my friends will ask me, hey, do you have a video or any suggestions on making such and such? And I'm like, yeah, let me just shoot a video. I had a video for this on our original Nana's Quilt Cottage store page on Facebook. There is a lot of videos over there of some fun projects, but it was faster for me to just go sew another one than try to find the video. The way they categorize and put the videos in there, sometimes those older ones are harder to find. So I was like, I need to make a new video anyway and put it over on YouTube, so I'll just make a new video. So thank you, friend, for asking me to do this. I was happy to do this for you, and I hope you enjoy the video and many other people. Okay, so all I did was I top stitched around the edge, close to the edge without falling off. Okay, now here's the fun part. You just fold this down a little bit, and our directional fabric is all standing up the right way. And our lining fabric provides another little border piece on here. Isn't this just the cutest? Super fun, super fast. I hope you make lots of these and give them as gifts. Thank you for watching my video. Make sure you like, share my video, and subscribe to see other fun videos of great, quick projects you can make using your scraps. Thanks so much, and have a blessed day.